The data science process will always be that way no matter what project we choose, no matter what tool we choose. So we got to make sure that the tool is acceptable for that. And we verify that, so that's good, right? So the installation is pretty straightforward. So now, I want to look at a couple of things. Yeah. So remember that we talked about these metrics, right? We talked about how is it that we're actually going to measure our, well, one, how are we going to run our experiments? And two, how are we going to measure our experiments? How do we know that our model is good or bad, improving, not improving? We need to know all these things, right? That's the data science part of it, right? That's the experimentation side, right? So what a couple of things call my attention here. You know, I'm looking at the what do you call this? Like the table of contents or whatever, right? Because I definitely want to read about everything else that's available. But again, I'm still thinking from a meta perspective of, does this fit my data science process? How do I work with this? And also the things I'm showing you today are kind of like common in most libraries, in the good libraries. Like you're not going to find seasonality in some libraries, it doesn't apply, but you should find what you see here in the diagnostic section, because that's what's calling my eye. You know, my trained eye is going to the diagnostic section. Cross-validation is catching my eye, and hyperparameter tuning is catching my eye. And also the parallelizing, but that's secondary, and we'll get to that, right? So this coming weekend, on Sunday, I'm teaching the Introduction to Statistical Learning book, and we're actually going over cross-validation. That's the next chapter. So here, let me bring up the book, just to, so we're all on the same page. This is the book. This book is where professional data science begins. Every Sunday I'm teaching a class. We've had 2 classes so far, and they've been fantastic. I'm seeing some of the people in the chat today that are attending on a regular basis. You know, Joseph, Rex, Patrick, couple other people that are also attending. I'm sorry if I forgot your name. This coming weekend, we're doing cross-validation, chapter 5? Yeah, chapter 5. Wow, can you believe that? We're already halfway through the book. Good job, guys. So, it's cross-validation. Does anybody in the chat want to give me the elevator pitch on cross-validation? And by the way, this is an interview question I ask, because I like asking the theoretical questions. So what is cross-validation, guys? Go ahead and put it in the chat. If you don't want, if you're not comfortable, that's okay. You can just hang back. No one's gonna call on you. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. But I'm gonna give you guys a minute. Give me your elevator pitch, your brief explanation of cross-validation. Give you guys a minute to think about that. Kozeko says, are the other Sunday classes recorded? Yes, absolutely they are. So if you want to come this Sunday, but you want to get caught up, go ahead and go to my YouTube, look in my videos, and you'll see them there. And I call the videos Introduction to Statistical Learning. So there's 2 of them so far. You're welcome to go there, maybe get up to speed a little bit. Maybe you want to download the book, the PDF of the book. And then maybe come and join us, and you should be ready to go. No one gets called in the class. You don't have to worry about having to participate. You just want to hang back and learn. That's totally fine. But you can find the classes on YouTube. Data Science with Dennis. All right, so giving you guys a minute here to think about what is cross-validation. Give me your elevator pitch on cross-validation. Hamad says cross-validation is validating the model to overcome the issue of overfitting. Patrick says cross-validation is where we split our data into K folds and fit our model to each fold at one time. Then we evaluate on the other folds. Okay. So Hamad is telling us that we're validating the model. Patrick is telling us that we're using a folds process. But that's not telling me what cross-validation actually is, guys. Like, why would you do this? Like, what is cross-validation? Like, try to explain it to your grandmother, right? Let's take a high-level view here, right? What are we trying to achieve with cross-validation? Okay, so Nyan says cross-validation is a method to validate our data. So basically the same answer as Patrick. But why, Nyan? Like, what are we doing? Like, why does cross-validation even exist? Okay, so Hamad revised his answer. It is used to assess the performance of a model. Yeah, you're getting closer. You're getting closer. Amina, you're asking a great question. I'm going to come back to that, okay? I'm going to come back to that. You're asking a really important question, but let me come back to that. By the way, if you're in the chat and I haven't answered your question, that's okay. I will come back after the class. I just want to get through the class, okay? Kozeko says cross-validation is a process to compare learning algos by dividing the given data into two segments. Nyan says it's done so that data doesn't overfit. Yeah, but why? Okay, Joseph, are you revising your answer? Or is that a new one? I think that's a new one. Okay, all right. I think Joseph has given us the most accurate answer so far, right? Rohan, yep, Rohan. I think you're on the right track. And Hamad, your revision is improved. Yeah, but I'm gonna highlight Joseph's answer here because I think he's giving us the best one, right? And cross-validation, you should be thinking about training a model. You're taking some data and you're comparing, you're training a model on it, and then you're letting the model then correct itself based on the answers to that data. That's what it is, right? The example that I use, because remember, we're talking to business people, right? Most of the time. The example that I use is, you know how like when you were a kid in elementary school and you had like math books and like, you would do the math problem and then the answers were in the back, right? Like the last like third of the book with the answers were in the back. That was you as a human doing cross-validation, right? You sat there, you did the answer, or your social studies course or whatever it was, right? You saw the question, you did the answer, you said, "Yep, I'm pretty sure that's the answer."